Hey guys, thank you all so much for joining us today. This is going to be a great day. We do these every single week, I know, but last week we were talking at the very end. We're like, what should we talk about next week? And it seemed the consensus was pretty strong. Everybody wanted to talk about compost today. I know that's definitely something that all of us I feel like need a little refresher course on, and I am definitely no expert, so today's going to be more of a getting started and how we maintain ours. But there are definitely areas that dive in more than I do today, but we are going to talk all about the basics of composting, how to do it, what to do, how to use it, all of that. It's gonna be a great time. So, welcome everybody. I see a lot of familiar names and faces in the chat. So, welcome. I love seeing I love seeing a lot of the same people every single week joining us. It's amazing. I feel like we've built a little community of everybody out here. And welcome very much. I see a lot of people commenting, which is awesome. Love it. So I am in zone 7 here in Oklahoma. That is where I am joining you from. And to give you a little bit of background about who I am, if you guys are just joining us, again, welcome. We do this every week, so make sure you continue to join us. But my name is Carrie. My husband Dale and I are the creators of the From Seed to Spoon mobile app, which is Park Seed's mobile app. It's a incredible resource. If you guys have not checked that out, make sure you download it. There's a download QR code up in the top corner. But a little bit about us. This is our backyard at our house whenever we first started gardening. And this was back about 10 years ago whenever we first started. And we had just, Bermuda grass galore. Like I feel like the standard Oklahoma backyard. And obviously we weren't doing much with this backyard. And then a couple years later, we turned all that into this, which we had a lot of fun, got really excited about growing our own food, and we just jumped right in. We absolutely loved it. We learned so much along the way because we had really, neither one of us had a background really in gardening or growing food. Like I had literally only grown like a couple flowers before, and that was about it. So doing all this, like we had to research and learn so much. Dale went through the Master Gardener's course. There's just so much that we learned and did along the way. And we we're like, you know what, there needs to be an app for this to make it easier. And so along the way, we created this. It helped us get started, and we wanted to make it easier for everybody else to get started growing their own food as well, which it helps with growing food. And we also have flowers on there now too. We have all sorts of things, but our app is amazing. It'll help walk you through growing over 100 different fruits, vegetables, herbs, and I could go on and on, but like exact planting dates, companion planting, pest management, really the list goes on and on with everything that's on there. And also coming soon, this visual garden layout. We're hoping to have that out either maybe the end of this week, next week. We're hoping it's going to be very soon. I'm very excited about that. But yes, that is who I am. And welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And I also want to mention that we are doing a giveaway. And you know what? Before I announce this giveaway, I need to mention too. So we do these every single week, and we host one of these giveaways during this workshop right here. And one of you guys is going to be entered to win, which is exciting. Every time you comment on off to the side, you get entered in to win this drawing, which today it is for a 1-year premium From Seed to Spoon app subscription, along with a Smart Pot Urban Compost Sack, which I'm going to talk about those here in a little bit. They're awesome, absolutely amazing. So definitely stick around to the end for that. And we are going to be doing another giveaway. So after the end of this workshop, if you come back into the video and comment on it again, you'll be entered to win the drawing. And I do the drawing for that like right before this session. So I was doing that right before and drew a winner. So let me pull that up here real quick and we'll find out last week's winner. And congratulations, Tammy is our lucky winner. She gets the free 1-year premium Seed to Spoon app subscription. And let's see, I pulled her comment that she won from. So last week we were showing the updates that we have from the Seed to Spoon app with the visual garden layout. And she was asking, because we do have a iPhone and Android app, as well as the web app, which you can access on the computer at app.seedtospoon.net. And if you are logged in, all of that information is going to go back and forth. So I thought it was a great question too. I had to pop it up because I was like, oh, more people will probably have that question as well. So, thank you, my lovely assistant, Dale, popped in that website for us. So if you access the app on your computer, you can go there, you log in, you'll have all your information on the computer app as well. So thank you for that question, Tammy. Congratulations. Send us an email. We'll get you set up with your free access. And for those of you here today, make sure you stay tuned to the end, and we will announce another winner at the very end as well. Aw, thanks, Karen. She says our app has been a lifesaver this year. It's her first year gardening. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel the same for me. And it's not my first year gardening, but it's definitely a lifesaver at times for me, especially the GrowBot section where I can just snap a picture and send it up and be like, what's wrong with my plant? And then, oh man, it helps me so much. Okay, so let's jump in and talk all about poo, right? I mean, that's why we're all here. We all want to talk about compost. Let's do it. So first of all, I did want to talk a little bit about why. So why you should even care. I mean, should you even bother doing compost? And I will 100% say yes. It is just a huge improvement on your plants. If you, between like buying bagged compost or making your own, oh, it's a night and day difference. You will have so much life in your garden. Your plants will be so much healthier in the long run by making your own compost. It's incredible. So for sure, definitely make sure that you are composting. And there's several ways we're going to talk about today as well. Even for small space, if you guys don't have a lot of space, and we have a lot of options for that as well. So definitely composting is going to result in healthier plants. It's going to help the soil structure. It's going to help, so whenever you water your plants, it's going to help to retain the moisture as well. And you'll also, we don't really have to use a lot of fertilizer in our garden because we use compost. And we almost treat our compost as a fertilizer at times too, which it just really boosts your plants' health, really helps them. And plus, it's amazing too. You won't feel wasteful in the house. If we don't finish something, it's like, okay, we'll just put it in the bucket. It's not a huge deal anymore. Because before, if we had to throw it out or put it down the garbage disposal, it's just so sad. So definitely recommend doing that. I'm seeing some comments pop up. I'm not getting, he said, oops, he's accidentally clicking stuff. Okay. So let's go on. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the basics of getting started composting. So first thing that you're going to want to do is start collecting your compost materials. So this is, a lot, anything and everything. And the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts to put in your compost. But really just collecting all of your compost materials. So I will say, like, I have a bucket that has a lid inside of our house. So anytime we have any extra scraps from the kitchen, anytime like the kids don't finish their food, I just pop it in there, pop in like anything really. I mean, peanut butter jelly sandwich. It's not any meat, no meat goes into the compost, but a lot of our scraps are like, apple cores, things like that. I mean, just a lot of things that we just don't finish. So just start collecting all of your kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, things like that. And you can actually go to Starbucks too. And a lot of them will give you their coffee grounds too, which is amazing. We did that for a long time whenever we lived closer to one in the city. And we would just stop by and pick up a big sack of compost or of that for our compost. So it was amazing. So you will want to work on balancing what's called browns and greens. So basically what you want to do, it's like a 3-to-1 ratio, but you can really tell if it's not accurate. And it doesn't have to be exactly perfect. The browns, those are more of the things like the shredded leaves, like the shredded brown, like the brown leaves, or the cardboard scraps, or we take mail and shred that, things like that. And then greens are going to be more like your waste, your stuff from the kitchen, your coffee grounds, your eggshells, your things like that. So you have both of these types of materials that are going together. And the third step after getting all of that together, you are going to be wanting to like turn your compost. You want to make sure that your compost is getting air throughout. There's circulation, and a lot of times, like you'll hear people saying, I need to go water my compost. So it does need water. It needs to maintain a little bit of moisture in order to cook, essentially. So, yes, thank you. So you'll go through and do the, make sure you're turning it and also watering it if needed as well, if it's too dry. And step 4, well, of course, composting time, exciting times, and also temperature management. So you want to make sure the more you water and turn it, the hotter it will get, and that you want it to get hot so that way it kills germs and it's cooking fast. So let's talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts, like what you can and can't put into your compost bin. So the do's, of course, we're going to talk about like the fruit and veggie scraps. Like that's an easy thing, right? You can do all of that. You can do your eggshells, things from the kitchen, your coffee grounds, any sort of leaves that you have, plants from your garden that have died. Now, I will say if they had any sort of diseases, you may want to avoid that depending on what it was. But a lot of the times if I have like a diseased plant, I will just get rid of that instead of putting it in the compost, because you don't want to share anything like that. But if you just had a plant die on you, if you forgot about it, forgot to water, something along those lines, you can toss that in there. A lot of people put in grass clippings. Sometimes you do need to be careful about weeds if you do things like that, like if your grass was going to seed whenever you were cutting it or anything like that. And then all of that, there's amazing stuff to put into your compost. Now, the don'ts are going to be things like meat, any sort of dairy, and pet waste. So I laughed at this because I was like, yes, I know pet waste is always on the don't, but not everybody has pets like I have pets. So I have, I'm not going to be using like my dogs and cats waste. No. But if I have like rabbits, goats, I have all sorts of animals, here. So we use all of theirs and we put that into the into the compost bin as well. And that works perfect for us. In fact, whenever we lived in the city, like that was essentially why we got rabbits, was so we could use their poo as fertilizer. It worked amazing for us. And it was incredible. So I will say pet waste, it depends on the pet, but for the standard like cat and dog, yeah, don't do that. Yes, avoid adding any cooking grease, oil, meats, bones, cropsy. Yes, anything like that. You definitely want to avoid for sure. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. I don't compost garden plants that might be diseased. Yes, for sure. Because you don't want to spread that through to your other plants. So if you think that a plant might be diseased, I would just toss it. Better safe than sorry, right? For sure. Okay. And then there's several different composting methods out there. So there's the traditional compost pile or bins. Some people so this is actually a picture of our compost bins that we had at that house that we showed you in the very beginning. This is a method that we built right here. And we did this just from pallets. We took some heat treated pallets and created this essentially. And we have like 3 different areas of bins. So we can like go through and like turn the compost and like move it from bin to bin. And we have, as you can see in this picture, we have things like wood chips in there. We had plants in there that like weeds that we had pulled, things like that. And the more you turn it and water it, the faster it'll go. Things like this are very simple to build, or like I said, you can really just do a pile and that'll work as well too. Just set aside like an area in your garden that you want to just start collecting everything and put it all there. It doesn't have to be anything super intense, super difficult. Just start with a pile if you want to do something like that. Then there's also several different methods here that you can do too. I see Michelle says weeds are okay. So when I say weeds from the garden, I'm talking about like plants that are growing where they shouldn't grow. They're not like necessarily like a weed. So I will say I'm not going to be tossing in like my Bermuda grass or anything like that, just because we have battled it enough. I'm not going to take the chance, but it really depends again on the weed and what you're clarifying as one. So there's compost tumblers. I'm not able to like read all of the chat. I am glancing over every once in a while, but I have seen some people talking about compost tumblers in here. And compost tumblers are definitely something that you can use for this. It takes up very little space. Now, I will say that our experience with compost tumblers is it took longer to go for us. That was just our personal experience, but it's definitely something that you could use as well. But we've always found just with it right there on the ground, it always tends to do better and gets warmer, and it tends to do better. But there's definitely that option. We ended up turning ours into a soil maker because we were mixing together and making our own soils with compost. So we ended up kind of just turning it into that. And then I will mention it too. So what's called vermicomposting, which I feel like I could do probably an entire hour just on worm bins, probably, because there's so much to know about that too, which is just as exciting. But this is probably one of our favorite ways to go about composting. And honestly, it's probably the best, especially if you don't have a lot of space. It's a lot easier. It works faster. There's a lot of benefits to it. Now it's not as large as the compost bin. So if I have large things, the compost bin definitely works better for things like that. But a lot of the things that we do here at our house is through a worm bin. And there's actually 2 different methods of doing worm composting. There is a bin like this. So you just have like these stacks of layers, and you'll have just different you'll have different layers of things. So you'll have some shredded paper in some, you'll have some food, so like the veggie scraps, things like that we talked about earlier. You'll pop that in here too. um, and every once in a while, you'll want to add some water as well to keep them moist, but not too wet. And they'll just go through and they'll start eating everything in there and turning it all into just this magical compost. It's incredible. So these worm castings are really, really great. And they are really the best that you could use, because you can use these in your seed starting area as well. And it's just, this is something that's just, it's really good. People call it like the best. Yes, so we do have an in-ground worm composter as well. So if you scan this QR code right here, it'll take you to the Park Seed website, and it will show you, it'll take you right to this link if you wanted to shop that or check it out. It is really cool. So there's also, I know we were talking about like the different things that you can do with the bins. There's also the in-ground worm composting, which is very similar. It just goes into the ground, and you'll have your worms right there, and you'll feed them right there, and they'll just start turning and making your worm castings right there, which is amazing. Yes, thank you, lovely assistant, for putting that discount code up. So if you are going to be checking that out, which I highly recommend, if you don't already have a worm bin, make sure you use this discount code that we have with Spoon15. You get 15% off your entire order. Plus, I will say too, if you are a yearly premium subscriber, you get free shipping on all of your orders that you place through the app. And so that is incredible right there too. So that will save you a lot as well. And who knows, you might win that today. So you might get free shipping today. Okay. Oh, okay. So I have a worm factor. Yes, that's the exact same one that we have. I love it as well. I do almost nothing and get amazing compost in a few months for sure. It is so fast and very easy to do. Definitely. Yeah. Okay, and then I wanted to talk too about this Smart Pot Urban Compost Sack. And I have not personally tried this. I need to. So I'm jealous of the person who's going to win this today, because I want to try this also. I'm very excited about it. It's awesome because I love my Smart Pots, first of all. We have so many of them out in our yard that we use all the time for growing. I mean, we have all different size containers that we've had for, I mean, honestly, since the beginning. Like that first or second year, we started trying out some smart pots, and we still have a lot of the same ones today, which is awesome. So I definitely can vouch for the fact that they are very durable for sure, and they just always put a lot of great care. They're actually made here in Oklahoma City too, which is awesome. So they're our neighbors. Yay. And everything is made in the US for them too. So these are it's essentially a smart pot that is designed for compost making. So you have this sack right here, pop all your stuff in there. They also have a top for it too that you can place over top of it. And that'll help like keep flies, bugs out and all of that. But I just thought that, oh man, it sounds so amazing. And I'm so jealous for the person who gets to try this out today. I'm very excited for you guys. So I'm excited for you, and you're going to have to let me know how it goes. I can't wait. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about common issues that you might run across. So typically things like bad odors, that happens sometimes as well. If you have like an imbalanced ratio of too much of something or not enough of something. So you just need to balance again those browns and greens, or just go through and turn it again. A lot of the times it just needs to breathe a little bit more. And so that's definitely something, or you want to make sure that maybe you didn't compost the wrong thing too, because that could be something right there too. If you accidentally put in like meat or something along those lines. Um, Other issues like compost being too dry, or again, on the same note, too wet. So if it's too dry, water it, just like we talked about earlier, or you can add more greens. So on the opposite end, if it's too wet, if you turn it more and add in some more browns, it'll help to soak up that wetness as well. Um, and again, if you are having issues with it, decomposing at the, wanted time, if it's going too slow, you might need to adjust the browns to greens ratio again to a lot of the times, like if we have like huge chunks of things and I like have a whole bunch of it, like I'll run it through a blender just to make it smaller, especially if I'm giving it to the worms. I do that too sometimes just to make things like easier for them to eat. um, so those are things that you want to be looking at. And slow, if it's decomposing slow, you also might want to look at turning it more as well, just to kind of get it rotating and moving around and all of that. And of course, the best part of it is using your compost as well, right? So I make my own soil and I do a mixture of a third compost, a third vermiculite, and then a third of coconut coir or peat moss. And then I mix all that together, and that's my soil that I use. And then also, whenever I am going through, so I have all that soil already made. And then whenever I'm going through and replanting again, like for the fall, I'll come in and put some more compost and mix it into the top layer a little bit before I plant. And I'll do that again in the spring and just keep adding more compost, more life into the soil. It's almost like I'm fertilizing whenever I'm going out and planting out. So it's definitely something that's helpful for that. And if you're not making your own soil, if you're still just if you're buying a potting soil mix or something along those lines, if you're growing on a smaller scale, this is super helpful too, because the more that you can add into your soil, like this natural compost, the healthier your plants are going to be. You won't have to spend as much money on fertilizers. There's so many benefits right there. And then, a lot of the times this is great mulch as well for around trees and shrubs, anything like that. And it will help, again, fertilize, make it so you don't have to be using as much. Yeah. Okay. So I was seeing there's a lot of questions. I've been looking over to the side and getting distracted with questions. I'm trying not. I should just leave it to Dale and have him pop up. Here we go. We have some more. So Sharon asks, any tips on keeping rodents out of the pile? So I will say, typically, if you're having rodent issues, that comes a lot from if there was like meats or something like that in the compost. And that's typically why they say to stay away from composting things like that. Sometimes what you can do, like really just turn it again, like maybe there was something desirable on the top of it. So if you turn it and try to bury whatever it is thereafter, if it was more food scraps or something like that, dig it and put it in the middle. You can try that. If you just keep it moister, moister, is that a word? I don't know, but more moist, that will help as well. There's also, I mean, like things like the compost tumbler or the smart pot sack, things like that. You won't have to deal with those at all. So maybe checking out one of those, or just putting some sort of wire cage, something like that over top of your compost bin. That'll help you keep it out. We had fish. Nice. For the rodents or for that was a funny transition. But yes, fish is amazing. We actually make our own, like there's one time that Dale like just got home from fishing and he brought in a bunch of fish that he had caught, and he's like, "Here we go. We have our own fish emulsion right here." And we're like, "Okay." Worked out great. So yes, fish is amazing use for compost. They're really good for it. Okay. Oh, here we go. I laid out my planting by hand. The app has found errors in my layout. Nice. Well, I mean, not nice that you had errors, but I'm really happy that it's helped you out a lot. He's been one of our testers that's been doing a lot of work for us, going through and testing our new visual layout app. Okay. So interested in how quickly it breaks down. Okay, so this is super variable. It really is going to depend on several factors. So like on your temperature outside and in the compost bin, what's in there, like the materials. Do you have just like full scraps of like citrus peels, or is it like blended up thing? Like it's so variable, but you can it if you are putting in like and in the right conditions, you could have it within a couple months. Does the compost pile need to be in the sun? It doesn't necessarily have to be, but it will be faster if it's in the sun. It will go faster. It'll heat up faster. It'll take more water. You'll be turning it more often. So it's definitely less work if you put it in the shade. It's just not going to go quite as fast. Okay. How about salted fruits and vegetables? Um, that's actually a really good question. I have never had any issues doing salted fruits and vegetables. I'd love to hear from you guys if you guys have had any problems. But I mean, we give everything to the worms essentially, and we've never had any issues with the salted fruits or vegetables. Okay, this is a great question. So, can you explain why cat and dog is not good? So, essentially, just a really easy, basic explanation is cats and dogs eat meats, and it's mainly their diet. And if you compost that, like you can risk for bacterias and things like that. So that's why I think things like rabbits and goats are better and really good sources, because they don't eat meats. They're I mean they're eating grass and hay and things like that, and fruit and veggies also. But yeah, it's mainly just their diet. Do people really do the worm farming even if they have tons of worms organically in their garden? So, absolutely, for sure. So, this is actually like we do worm farming as well. Like we have our worm bin set up in our garage actually. But it is again primarily for the worm castings, and we use it a lot in seed starting as well. So it's not just for taking the compost out to the garden, because we do, like you, we have a lot of worms and life in there. But we do like to add some additional worm castings, things like that sometimes if we need more. And but yeah, for sure, like because it's amazing for seed starting. Okay, so is the bigger pile the better? Okay, so it will go faster the bigger it is. But again, it's going to be more work. So I feel like it's just like the faster, like the bigger it is, the faster it goes, the more in the sun it goes, the faster it goes, but it's going to be more work. So it depends on what you're after. If you want it to be done faster, go for it. If you don't want quite as much work, maybe keep it down to a little bit less uh, large level. Oh, yes. This is an amazing tip. So Tanya says she takes hers and spreads it on a tarp, wet it, and turn it that way. Fantastic. Yeah, that's terrific advice right there. For sure. And then you're not losing it. Whenever we're making a lot of soil, you lay down a tarp sometimes and just mix it all right there. So yeah, I really like this idea. That's great. Nice. Ashley says she tells everyone that 90% of her garden knowledge is from this app. Yay! That's awesome. So we have, unfortunately, I got no fruit this summer at all because I had no pollinators. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Um, it sounds like Dale says that he wants to send you some zinnia seeds. So send us an email. Zinnias, like they're so easy to grow. Like I literally just went out there, I tossed seed. I literally, I'm not exaggerating. I literally tossed seeds and watered them in, and I had these beautiful flowers all season long. I hardly had to do anything, and we had hundreds of butterflies. I kid you not, like every day. So definitely try growing something about that'll help to attract pollinators. Yay! Yes, we do. We do these videos every single Tuesday. We always have a live stream with a different topic, and I mean, we've been doing this for a year too. So if there's something in the past, like I'm sure you can, if you have a certain question, I'm sure we have one for you. So go check them out. We have them all on our YouTube channel as well. Okay, Christy says, I compost directly into my garden bed soil via sprinkler valve boxes. I have multiple and move them each year. It really helps break down my clay soil by bringing the worms. That is terrific. Terrific. I love that. I love doing the in-ground method. Like this is terrific. It's very similar to that worm bin that we have in the ground as well. Yeah, this is terrific. Yep, that one right there. Awesome. Michelle says she saved these links and QR code. Terrific. Any recommendation for worms or where to buy? So there is a website that whenever we first started, Uncle Jim's, that we got all of ours. There's also local places. Sometimes nurseries have them as well. We get ours a lot too from like Facebook Marketplace. Like you can find everything on there. Craigslist. I mean, anything like that, you can definitely find. Awesome. Kara says, I started using the app to start getting my garden plan for next year's. Nice. That is great because we are working on getting a visual layout out for you guys, and it's going to be coming within the next week or two. I'm so excited. We have a whole bunch of you guys actually in there right now testing, playing around with it, and all of that. So if you guys are watching today and you guys want to help us out with the testing too, you still have like a week or so, maybe early testing that you can do to go through and play with the visual garden layout before it's available to everybody. If you want to check it out, email us at info@seedtospoon.net and I will get you set up. Okay. Do we have any other questions? We're ready for a winner? Okay. Oh, he doesn't have it. He's running the winner right now. So we'll wait for Dale to run the winner. So this lucky winner is going to get a 1-year free premium from Seed to Spoon app subscription. So this person's going to be able to be able to send unlimited photos to Growbot. So if you have like a plant or a pest that you want to identify, or if you have a plant that's having issues, or if you want to send it a picture of your compost and ask it a question, you can do that too. It's awesome. It'll give you great advice for that. You get free shipping with all of your orders through the app, which we have Park Seed's entire shopping catalog in there. So it's really exciting. and unlimited plants and gardens you can log, and this visual layout coming soon as well. And then I also want to make sure I mention the Smart Pot Urban Compost Sack, because that is going to be so helpful, especially if you are just starting out. It is going to be a lifesaver for you. I can't wait, and I'm very excited for you all to do it too. Okay, do we have a winner yet? Oh, yay! Congratulations at Peonies and Pinks. Email us at info@seedtospoon.net and we will get you set up. Congratulations. Very excited for you. And if you guys didn't win today, don't worry. You can still enter to win this amazing package. Just by simply, whenever this is done and I press end stream and it posts to YouTube, you can just pop back in there, put a comment into that chat. Again, every comment is going to make it enter your name for the drawing. So you could still win. Don't worry. Okay, Wendy says, I'm going to consider vermicomposting based on this live chat and comments. I always thought I didn't need it since my garden is full of earthworms. I do buy the castings, so could save some money. Yeah, for sure. You totally should, because honestly, the worm bin is the easiest way to go. I feel like the other ones, I mean, it takes work and it is amazing to do. And it's a great workout as well, like going out there and turning the compost and all of that. But it's definitely the easiest route to go with doing the worm bins. And it's great to do for seeding indoors, all of that. Okay, do you put the insides of peppers or other veggies that have seeds? Okay, so that's a really great question. So typically I do not, because I am a little bit more concerned about putting like seeds and things like that, unless you're not worried about volunteer plants, which we do still sometimes. But typically those type of things I give to the other animals. I mean, because we have pigs, we have chickens, all of that, and we give them some of our food as well. And so anything that I'm slightly worried about going in the compost, I try to give to them, and I'll take their manure and bring it in. Oh, we already had this one. We're having repeat questions now. I guess maybe we've. Oh, okay. Bonnie says, will we be able to move plants in the layout? Like if they're in grow bags that we end up moving? Yeah. So if you have a layout, you can change the dimensions of the layout, or you can move plants around within your garden, visually that you have right there. So, and you can also like move it from one garden to another garden bed if you have like multiple garden beds. So yes, I mean you can move things all around however you want to. So I'm really excited. If you're not already testing, make sure you send us an email and get started doing that. So that way you can test it out too. Yeah, but thank you all so much for joining today. This has been a great day talking all about compost, and I hope we've inspired some people to get started composting. You will not regret it. It is so beneficial for your garden. Your plants will definitely thank you for sure. And like I said, if you all are joining us for the first time, we do these every Tuesday, and we are here chatting, doing answering questions, all of that. So please make sure to join us again next week. And during the week, we're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all of the above. And I see a question about Dale. Can you pop up our email? There it is. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I saw somebody was asking for our email because they wanted to try out the new version of the app. So yes, right here is info@seedtospoon.net, and I will let you know how we can get you set up. So I'm looking forward to talking with you all again here very soon, and I will see y'all next week.